Welcome back, you bloody legends. Today's video we're going to talk about series. So I am an habitual series starter. I'm absolutely not a completionist. I'm in between an handful of series at the minute, and every single time I finish a book I think, oh, let me start another series that I can fall in love with, and then once I finish that book I can look at my shelf and go, ip dip dog shit, you are not it, and then pick another series to read book one of. So I've got loads of series that I've not started yet, even though I'm in between loads of other series that I probably should complete, but I won't, because that's just the kind of person I am. I will complete them one day, but I've got FOMO. I have fear of missing out on other series, and I'm easily influenced. So you lot come into my comment section, you're like, Tyrone, you must read this series. So I'm like, all right, well, next I was going to read that book, but because you've said I need to read that, I'll just scrap my plans and I'll read what you said. And here we are today, in between many series, planning on starting many more. So that's what all these are. These are series that I desperately want to start, that are sat on my shelf waiting, that I probably will start before I finish the series that I'm already involved in. So let's get straight into it. This is the first one. This was recommended by one of you. Actually, I think pretty much all of these books were recommended by you lot, because that's where I get most of my book recommendations from. So this is Jim Butcher's Dresden Files. This is book one, called The Stormfront. I don't really know much about this series, other than from what I've read on Blurb and what you've told me in comments. So just from looking at the front cover, it makes me think of Cormoran Strike. If you've read the Galbraith books, the PI, the miserable fart, who just grumpy arsehole, isn't he? Who goes around solving crimes. That's the vibe I'm getting from this fella. I'm guessing his name is Summit Dresden. I think it's Harry Dresden. Yeah, and he's a wizard PI. So that excites me, because I love fantasy and I love police procedurals, and this seems to merge the two together, where you've got this miserable wizard PI who's going to go around and maybe solve crimes and stuff, but he's investigating supernatural stuff. So I would assume he's probably going to fight like ogres and other wizards and magic wielding people. That sounds absolutely class. There's no reason I haven't started it yet, other than the fact that my logic behind when I start a new book really is just kind of ip-dip at my bookshelf, and this just hasn't won the game yet. Hopefully it wins it soon. Very excited to read this. I don't know how many books are in series. I know there's more than like a few. There's a lot. I have been warned by a few people that with this series you need to get a bit of time. Maybe 1, 2 and 3, the books aren't as good, but then it gets class. However, Goodreads rates this at like 3.85, which I think is a pretty solid score. So you should read this if you like police procedurals or fantasy, or you want to merge the two together, because I think you'll have a right good time. In this video, I want you to give me your recommendations for your favourite series of all time, because I'm going to go through books here that I'm excited to read, but as I said, most of these are on my shelf because you lot have said the class. So not just for me, but I want all of you to understand that a lot of people will go into comments and they look for book recommendations from you lot. So you're not only helping me out, you help each other out as well. Because there are people who send me books off my Amazon wishlist and stuff. I've had a book recently, actually, with a lovely message just saying I don't like to write in comments, but I love your stuff. And it reminded me that actually there are people that watch these videos that don't feel comfortable commenting on a public forum, but they will still go into comments and nick everyone's recommendations. So best book recommendations in comments, series book recommendations, though, because obviously that's what this video is about. The next video, it's not a video, it's a book. Is this one called The Burning by Evan Winter. Now, I tried looking at the back of this book to try and tell you what it's about, but there's not really a blurb on it. He's a bit of a cock tease, this author. So I did some Google boxing, as I always do before the videos, to try and like give you an inkling as to what these books are actually about. This is part of a trilogy. Book 3, I believe, is meant to be coming out in May 2026. So if you want to start it now, you could really read book 1 now, in a few months read book 2, and then get hyped for book 3. So this follows a young lad. I don't know if he's young. He's of an age. He's a man. And his name's Tau. T-A-U. I believe that's how you pronounce it. If you don't, come at me. And he's just a regular dude, living a regular life, but in a world that's full of war and everyone loves a scrap. But he doesn't. He likes just sitting at home, having a cuppa, dipping some biscuits, and he's like, you can fight. Toxic masculinity. Leave it at the door. I'm in here with my blanket and a book. So he's chilling, but then someone that he loves gets taken away from him. I don't know whether they get sent to Jesus or not, but I would imagine they do. He gets angry, and then he's like, bun that, I'm getting my revenge. So then he starts training and stuff. Regular dude starts training. That's already got me, because that's like a unlikely hero. Just, I love that. You know, when people are the underdog and then they train and then they whoop ass, like, that's exciting. Plus it's a revenge story. Love me a revenge story. And I'm gonna guess there's probably dragons in it, because it says Rage of Dragons. If there's no dragons in it, it's gonna be one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Book 2 is called The Fires of Vengeance, and that again has got a big dragon on it. So there best be some sort of dragons in this book. On the back it actually says Game of Thrones meets Gladiator. If that doesn't sell it, I don't know what does. Super, super pumped to read these ones. I think I've probably only left them because, again, I know it's an incomplete trilogy, but I'm absolutely going to read them because everyone that I trust online, like content creators that I trust, that's read that book said it's class. And if they say it's class, it's class. It's just that easy. Next up, Joe Nesbø, The Bat. This was again recommended by one of you lot in my comments. I don't always get a chance to reply to every comment, but you best believe I read every single comment. I usually put like a little like there's a little like thing where I can love art it, so you know that I've read it. But I've got 3 kids, wife, trying to manage all this as well. Sometimes it's tricky to reply to them all. But I appreciate all your comments, and they 9 times out of 10 tend to go on my TBR. This was another one. Someone recommended this and said, I live in Norway, so I love these books. I believe they're predominantly set in Norway. But this dude, the main character, I think his name's Harry Hole, has a drinking problem. So throughout the series, he either is an alcoholic or is a recovering alcoholic. And I love that. You tend to find with most series, especially like police procedurals, there'll be like an overarching arc, character arc, whether that be that they're struggling with maybe PTSD or they're alcoholic, or like the Tess Gerritsen books, she talks about what it's like to be a woman working in a predominantly male environment. So the central focus on this is his struggle with alcohol, but also his solving crimes as well, which I believe are quite gruesome Joe Nesbø books, which I love Chris Carter books. The mingier, the better. Right, excited for this one. I think it's rated like 3.5 stars, book 1 on Goodreads as well, which I think is a good score. You tend to find with police procedurals that book 1 usually is around 3.5 from what I've found anyway, and then they get better as the season progresses because more fans stay, and obviously they love the books. Next up, we have got, this one, I'm right excited for this. I don't think these are in order. The Bone Ship, I think it's called the Tide Child Trilogy. It says it there, that's a right mouthful, by R.J. Barker. So not only am I excited for this one because I've not read anything by R.J. Barker before, I'm excited because I picked this up, I went onto Google and I typed in fantasy books with pirates in it. Because that's what I do. I go on Google and I'm like, I want to read about pirates. So I go on Google and then Reddit pops up and then everyone gives me recommendations. So that's what this said. They said they're not necessarily pirates, but they are like, not necessarily morally bankrupt, but a group of hooligans, we'll say, going around on these ships at sea. And that excites me. I think they call it like maritime fantasy. And I've not read much of that. But I do remember reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and there was one of the books in, one of the stories at least, in Assassin's Blade, because that's short stories. There's one of them where they go to this like sea village and there's ships and there's a guy that they meet and it's based around ships and stuff, and I just really enjoyed that. So that made me think, maybe I'm going to like stories about pirates. And that's about as logical as it gets. So this is highly rated. I don't know what the score is, but I remember seeing that it was highly rated. And loads of people that I know that have read this have said it's absolutely class. So all I know is that it's a trilogy, it's a complete trilogy, and there's ships and stuff, and it's fantasy. So if you want to read a book that's going to make you seasick, but you're going to have a really good time being seasick, read it. Yeah. I can't tell you it's good because I don't know. I've not read it. I've not read any of these. I'm just hyped for them. So I'm telling you that I'm hyped so we can get hyped together. What we got next? Right, so these two. Book 1 in the Harry Bosch series, The Black Echo by Michael Connolly. So I have actually watched the first few episodes of the Harry Bosch series. But then I found out by my granddad, he said, there's books, the Harry Bosch books are fantastic, way better than the series. So I was like, shut the front door, you've ruined another series for me. Because every time I start watching a TV series, he goes, oh, there's a book series for that. So then I'm like, well, I can't watch TV series now, can I? Because if I do, and it follows the same plot, then I already know what's going to happen. So I now have to stop watching the Harry Bosch TV series and read the books. Very excited for this because I just liked Harry Bosch. The first few episodes I watched of the series, he was a good character. Again, similar to the Harry Dresden books, he seemed like a bit of a miserable, grumpy arsehole. And I love that. And he had a daughter, so I love the whole father-daughter relationship, because I've got 2 daughters, so I relate to that. And I like that he's an LAPD detective, and he's maybe a little bit like morally grey. Like he's always kind of bordering on what you should or shouldn't do when it comes from a legal stance as a police officer. Like he'll punch you in the face and he's not arsed, even though he shouldn't, but he does. So I'm excited to read that. I've got this other book here because this is also by the same author, The Lincoln Lawyer, which I know has also been adapted into a TV series. So I went to a bookshop once and they were both there. So I picked them both up because why wouldn't you? It'd be just stupid not to, wouldn't it? I believe that this is similar. The dude's probably a bit like morally grey. Mickey Haller. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Anyway, he's got a name and it's called Mickey. But I have been told that sometimes the characters in both of these books like interlink into the books, and I think that's cool as shit. So I'm really excited for that one. My granddad told me a couple of weeks ago that Michael Connelly's also got a series with a detective who's a woman. I don't know what she's called, but he's reading that currently, and he said that's really good as well. So I'll probably pick book 1 in that series up, because it's not like I'm already overwhelmed with the amount of books I've not already read. So yeah, these 2, very excited for them. I've not heard anyone say any bad things about Harry Bosch series. Everyone says it's class. What should we do next? Should we go for another fantasy book? Yeah, why not? I'm buzzing for this. So one of my favourite fantasy books ever, which I don't really talk about much on here, was the Bloodsworn trilogy by John Gwynne. Spectacular. 10 out of 10. Absolutely loved it. I think it's underrated. I don't hear enough people talking about John Gwynne's books. But when I do hear people talking about John Gwynne books, it tends to be this trilogy. It's not a trilogy, there's 4 books. Quartet. And it is The Faithful and the Fallen. And I'm just buzzing for it. I'm going to guess it's kind of Norse-inspired Viking stuff, because that's what the Bloodsworn trilogy is. I also follow John Gwynne on Instagram, and he's got like a big grey beard, and I've seen a photo of him in an axe and stuff. So I think he's very much into Norse stuff. I think he does reenactments where they go into like a big field with swords and start whacking each other and stuff, which is right hard. Like, that's right hard. I wouldn't want to do that because it could hurt and stuff, and then it'd ruin my tennis elbow. So yeah, John Gwynne does Norse stuff. Now, from what I know about the Bloodsworn trilogy, John Gwynne writes characters right good. Like, there's 3 characters in the Bloodsworn trilogy, main characters at least, that it follows. 2 are women, both are badass. One is a bloke, he's badass. But I'm going to assume, this is just from the Bloodsworn trilogy, that he does write strong female characters, which I appreciate from a man. Not many, like, men authors focus on women, and I don't necessarily think it's because they're sexist pigs. I think it's because it's hard for men to write women, because obviously we're not women, are we? We don't fully understand them, and men aren't very good at communicating. So I've got a wife, but I still don't fully understand it because I'm pretty dog crap at communicating. I'm better than I used to be. I try and learn every single day. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is John Gwynne, I think, writes women really well, and he writes kick-ass strong women. So if you're into that, read it. If you're not, why? The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French. So this was sent to me off my Amazon wish list, and someone were like, dude, this is one of the best things I've read this year, please read it. And that's why it's on my shelf. So this follows, I believe, a half orc, half human gang. But instead of riding around on motorbikes, like you can see him here, it's like almost like a Hell's Angel, but an orc. Instead of riding around on Harley Davidsons, they ride around on hogs. So they're like galloping around on these pigs. in like a wasteland. So you've got orcs that live here. There's no H in orcs. It's just orcs. And then you've got humans that live here. And then a big wasteland that's governed by these half orc, half human, hog riding badasses that are trying to keep them both apart. Because obviously, if they don't, then there's probably going to be a looming war, which I would imagine the orcs would probably win, because I imagine in fantasy worlds that orcs are harder than humans. So the orc human hybrid are here to save the day on the pigs. How crazy does that sound? But he's probably more than that, but it just sounds like a wild time, and I'm really excited to read that. So I don't know any more about this book than that. So if you want to read it, someone on backer it says it's filthy charismatic and frankly excellent, and that's Mark Lawrence, who is a fantastic grimdark author. So if he says it's good, it probably is. Read it if you want. The Grey Bastards by Jonathan French. I think it's part of a trilogy. I've only got book one at the minute though. So Ben Aronovich, Rivers of London. This has been recommended so many times. Every time I say that I love fantasy and I love police procedurals, this is a series that gets recommended. And a series, again, similar to the Harry Dresden Files, that I get told gets better and better as the series progresses. So I believe this is set in England, which I can always relate to, because obviously that's where I'm from. And it's a detective, but I don't know if he's a human detective that investigates supernatural stuff, or if he's similar to Harry Dresden's, like a bit of a Wingardium Leviosa kind of guy, got a wand and stuff. Shall we just have a read it back? Because I've not even read this yet. It says, "This is London as you've never seen it before. A city of wonders and terrors. A city of ancient secrets, which is haunted by its past. A city where you are never far from magic. A city Peter Grant will help you discover." So he's obviously the main character in it, fella you're following. "My name is Peter Grant, and I used to be a probationary constable in that mighty army for justice known as the All Right Thinking People of the Metropolitan Police Service, and everyone else as the filth." And to everyone else as the filth. I already like the way this was written, the blurb. I hope the book's written like this. "My story started when I tried to take a witness statement from a man who had already died." Okay. No idea. It just says the perfect blend of CSI and Harry Potter. Supernatural stuff. I believe it's meant to be funny, and I love funny books. They make me laugh, like out loud, like like proper belly chuckle laugh. And I like laughing. It releases endorphins and stuff. Gives me that dopamine hit that I need to keep me going. Read it if you want. I'm going to read it. This one was bought by Macaulay. Macaulay, thanks, dude. Me and Macaulay have just finished a buddy read of Malazan, book one. There'll be a review coming for that towards end of month. I need a few days to let it sink in. Really enjoyed it. Complex as shit. But Macaulay did definitely help. Like, he held my hand and walked me through it. But anyway, I digress. Macaulay bought me this off my Amazon wishlist and said, "This is my favourite book of all time." And that's high praise. And after doing the buddy read with Macaulay, I realised, like, he knows his stuff. So if he says this is good, it's good. And it's thick. It's like thick. I don't know how many pages it is. 650 pages. But this is He Who Fights with Monsters, which is book one in a larger series. And it's by Shirtaloon. So if you want to read that, you can. I believe this is, at least book one, is on Kindle Unlimited. So you can get that for no, if you pay for Kindle Unlimited, obviously. And I believe it's also on Audible's Plus catalogue. So you don't have to use a credit to get it. You can listen to it if you want. It's Lit RPG. So I've mentioned it in my previous videos. It's a video game in a book. It's progression based. It's going to be set in a fantasy world where you're going to come across mad creatures and stuff, and you're going to smack them in the face, and then you're going to level up, and you're going to get stronger as the story progresses. You're going to do quests, you're going to do missions, you're going to get achievements. It's just going to be class. I think if you love gaming, I was an avid gamer growing up, so these books are just easy tick for me. Always going to love them, unless obviously the plot's dog shit, but usually the plot's alright. But I think, even if you don't really like gaming, but you like the concept of that, you'll like it. I've had a few people who have recommended Dungeon Crawler Call to, and they've said, "I don't really like gaming." I've said, "I don't care, read it." Anyway, ignore whatever you thought. Like, stop being narrow-minded and read it. And then they've read it and gone, dude, it's best book I've ever read. And then they've gone on to book 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and like smashed it. Ahead of me now. Very good. So I think you should all try and read it. And if you don't enjoy it, you just blame Macaulay. Obviously, we don't blame me because I've not read any of these. These aren't like real recommendations. I'm just telling you what I'm excited to read. So if you don't enjoy it, that's not a reflection on me. That's a reflection on Macaulay. David Baldacci, the 620 man. So I got this recently because my granddad told me to. That's it. There's the logic. I go and see my granddad every Saturday. We sit down for about an hour and a half and we talk about books. He tells me what he's read. I told him what I've read. And then he'll give me some and I give him some. But this one, he said to me, oh, you need to read David Baldacci. I've not got any books at home because I've sent them all to charity shops, but if you see him, pick him up. So I went to a Tesco, and Tesco do them stands where you can go up and you can put your own books down and pick books up and then drop some money in charity pot. And this were there. So I picked it up and I had to read it back at it. And then I went on Google and it turns out this is book 1 in what I believe is a new series of David Baldacci's. And there's currently 3 books out. The last was released towards the end of 2024, so I'm guessing it's an ongoing series, not a trilogy. It doesn't say book 1 of 3 are on Goodreads. Book 1 were rated like 4.12 or something like that, which is class for a book 1 in a crime series. So from reading the back of it, it seems like the dude that it follows is an army veteran. So I don't know if he's going to be dealing with any sort of PTSD and stuff through the larger looming story, but it's obviously going to come into it, the fact that he isn't an army vet, because it says it on back of book. So it says, on his daily commute on the 620 train to Manhattan, oh, so that's why it's called the 620 man, 32-year-old Travis Devine sees the lavish houses of the wealthy and dreams of joining their ranks. So he's got aspirations. Go on, Travis. Then one morning, his dull routine is shattered by an anonymous email. His friend is dead, prompting the NYPD to come calling. Before the day is out, another ominous visit threatens to dredge up grim secrets from his past in the army unless he participates in a clandestine investigation into his firm, into his own firm. The stakes? In a world where power, greed, jealousy and ambition result in the financial abuse of the masses and the enrichment of the elite few, Travis unearths strange coincidences and unnerving truths. And as the deaths pile up, and the major players show their hands, he must question those who he trusts and those who he must fight. The payback, there's a killer with their own agenda, and Divine is the target. Okay, Baldacci. So that's giving like Jack Reacher vibes, I think. It feels like that kind of book. So it's not necessarily police procedural, more military thriller, shall we call it, with government conspiracy and stuff like that. That sounds right good. That's bang up my street. I'll definitely read this. Excited to try Baldacci for the first time. If you have read Baldacci, give me some recommendations because I know that he does other books. I think he does some standalones. And also, I believe he's got like a larger series, but I don't know if it's police procedural or whatever it is. So yeah, David Baldacci. I need the recommendations for him, if you will. We've got 2 more left, and then I think we're done. I've got more unread series on there, but I didn't want to drag this video out too long because I understand that there's a limit of Tyrone. Like, there's only so much of me people can take without getting fed up and wanting to just like... Cassandra Clare. Never read her. I literally got this series because Annie, who is a girl who I trust with my whole heart when it comes to book recommendations, has said that the Mortal Instruments series is fantastic. She also told me, I believe, to read the Mortal Instruments series first and then read Internal Devices. But I'm not going to, because I went on Google and Google said that this one, which is the Infernal Devices trilogy, is a prequel that came out after. So I'm obviously going to read prequel first because I'm all about reading it in time order. I'm not about reading that one. I've got it. I don't know if you can see it there. I can't be bothered to get it. But I've got the... what's it called? Mortal Instruments. I've got that there. I'm not about reading that first and stepping back in time. I want to read this first and then go in future because that just makes sense to me. So, never read anything by Cassandra Clark before. I believe it could be YA. There's no blurb on here. And I can't be bothered to get the books out to read the blurb to figure out what it's about because it's a nightmare sometimes getting them back in. You bend your pages and stuff and it right winds me up. So I'm only excited for the series solely because Annie told me to get it, and my ADHD dictates what I buy. And yeah, you know, someone says to me, Tyrone, the Mortal Instruments is good. Maybe you should give it a read. And then I buy the whole set and the prequel. Because why wouldn't you? The last one is this one. So for anyone that's been following my Esteban King journey, that's what I'm on at the minute. I'm reading some Stephen King, and I think I'm like 4 books deep now. Just finished reading Pet Sematary. That book's mental, like properly twisted, but it makes you realise that we as humans are probably twisted, because I don't think I'd have done anything different if one of my members of family was sent to Jesus and I had a chance to bring them back. I could do it straight away. I'd be like, yeah, come back, bring your smelly, soily self back to me. You stink, but you're back. So I'll do like a more in-depth review of the Stephen King book at the end of the month, but batshit crazy. Go on, Stephen. So this one were recommended when I said that I was going to read Stephen King, because obviously people cottoned on. They were like, well, he's reading Stephen King and he likes fantasy. You best read this. Everyone that I know that's read this has said it's absolutely class. A few people have messaged me and said, oh, I just couldn't get into it. I gave up on book 1, which I understand. Because having read my comments, a lot of people have said book 1's the worst book. So I understand why you'd given up. But looking at how skinny book 1 is, it's literally, it looks like almost like a novella. It's thin. So even if it's crap, I'll read it because it's short. And then everyone says after that it gets rate class. My only concern with this was that I know there's tie-ins to other Stephen King books, like The Stand. I think there's a feral creature, whatever his name is, Roland something or other. I believe he's an horrible person in The Stand, and I believe that he's also in this series as well. But I don't think I've got the willpower or energy to read all of Stephen King's back catalogue before I dive into this. I think I might just dive into this, and then if I enjoy it, I'll obviously carry on reading Stephen King stuff, and then I'll come back and reread it, because loads of people have messaged me and said I've reread this like 4 times, so it must be class because people have been rereading it. And I've never read a book that's like cowboys and stuff, and it looks like a cowboy. He's got like a cowboy outfit on, and he's like, I imagine him to come out spinning guns and stuff, and so that excites me because I've not read any cowboy stuff. I have got Lonesome Dove on my shelf as well, which is also part of is it part of a series? I think it is. I think there's like 3 or 4 books in that series. And I'm going to read that soon because it's right now's weather. And I just feel like that's a sunny day book, Lonesome Dove, because there's sand and stuff and there's horses. And it's warm in that book. So I feel like I should read it when it's warm in this country. And it's warm in England at the minute. And it's not normally warm. So they should take advantage while we've got the sun. I think we've done. I never know how to wrap these videos up. I'd never know really what to say at the end, other than thank you for watching and caring. I love you so much. Truly, I mean that. Every single one here. You just make me happy. Genuine joy. I'm in a much better place mentally than I've been in a long time, and I truly put it down to the fact that I think I'm engaging a lot more with my YouTube at the minute. I'm putting more content out there, speaking to a lot more of you in the comments. Some of you are coming over to my Instagram and we're having chats in inbox as well, which just helps. Yeah, I'm seeing sunshine in my life at the minute. And I always say, I understand that not all of you are. And I want to keep reminding you that, you know, I've been there and I'll probably go there again. You know, it's peaks and troughs with mental health. I still have bad days, and I'm going to have bad periods. You know, I guarantee, because I've been there. You know, this time 6 months ago, I was in a decent place, and then I dropped off face of earth again, and I couldn't. I woke up and I couldn't see purpose in being here. So all I can say to you, to the people that are watching this video that are struggling, be that with your mental health, with your body composition, with anything. You know, you're going to have terrible days. You're going to have horrific days. You're going to have days where you just like, it'd just be easier not to be here. But they are just days. They're just days. Better days are ahead. Like, just, I hope you can watch my videos and look at me as proof. I want you to maybe go back and watch some of my older videos where I'm sat in front of the camera crying, bawling, because our I had nothing. I had nothing to give. And me coming on here and click and play on my videos were literally just like a means of finding reason to continue, of thinking, well, there's a task, that's something, you know. And that's what I used to do when I were in such a tough space mentally. I'd just force myself. I'd give myself tasks because I'd be like, well, I've got nothing to live for. But then I'd be like, well, force yourself to have something to live for. Make a YouTube video. And that's where my channel started, basically. I was like, just that was a purpose. It was a reason to continue. So I want you to maybe watch my older videos and look at some videos where I am crying and I'm upset and I'm struggling. And then come back to this video today and be like, well, actually, yeah, you know what? Tyrone did get through that. And maybe I just need to find something, find a calling, find a purpose, find something that I can do to get me through today. Because that's all that I think personally. What I've learned is that battling mental health is all about the day. It's not about a week's time, it's not about a month's time, it's not about yesterday, it's about getting through that day. And what I remind myself on all my worst days, and I say it to my wife all the time, is I beat every single bad day I've ever had. So I'm stronger than my bad days. And I say that to all of you lot as well. Every single bad day that you have, you beat every single one of them. And if that's not badass, I don't know what is. And if you've beat every single one of them in past, you'll sure as shit beat every single one coming in front of you in future. So keep that with you. Try and stay positive. I know it's not easy. And just give yourself something to smile about. Be selfish. If something makes you happy, do it. If you've watched till this point, I love you the most. And if you've watched this last bit, sorry for babbling, but I'm just passionate about keeping people alive. Thank you.